Hello friends and welcome to Shadow Gaming. So today, instead of playing Tiny Glade, I'm going to start a series playing Manor Lords. Manor Lords is a city building game where you have to manage resources and supply chains in a medieval era, and also occasionally fight some battles. So we'll just begin with a new game. This game is in early access still, so not all the features are institute. For example, it doesn't really matter which of these portraits you pick, but let's go with this guy. Let's put in my usual gamer name as Shadow, and we can also create a coat of arms. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah. So really this portrait and this coat of arms won't show up in the game at all. It's just kind of for style. But then let's continue, and we can choose the game type. So there's Rise to Prosperity, which basically just lets you build a town without any combat. There's Restoring the Peace, which is more balanced, but you have to deal with combat occasionally between bandits and an enemy baron trying to take territory from you. On the Edge is basically it's a tough challenge. So we're going to go with Restoring the Peace. All of these settings are fine, and let's begin. All right, so right away we have a new message. Build up your town, your manor, and when ready, press claims towards regions owned by your opponents. Once a claim has been pressed, be ready for battle. And I can choose the option, I'll unite these lands under my rule. So I immediately pause time just to get a sense of what's going on here. So you can see we're in this region, these two yellow regions. These two yellow regions are what the enemy baron owns. Right now I own this region. We're going to grow our territories over this map as the time goes on. Right now the baron won't build anything, he'll just occasionally claim territories. In our starting territory here, we have some randomly generated resources. So we've got wild animals, we've got berries, we've got stone, iron, and clay. All of those are pretty standard. The important ones are these rich deposits. We have rich stone and rich clay. That means with the right upgrade points, we can mine infinite clay, and we'll just have extra stone to start with, but it's not necessarily infinite. That's okay, stone isn't that much of a required resource. I kind of wish I had had a rich iron deposit, because infinite iron is very useful. So our starting camp is down in this region of the map. To start with, we've got a few supplies. We've got a hitching post. We've got some more supplies. Then we've got just tents to house the homeless people. So you can see right at the beginning, we have ding to our unhappiness from 5 families that are homeless. Up here, we have our number of families that are unemployed. Unemployed families can build things. Employed families will work on other tasks, so you always want a certain amount of unemployed families just to build your buildings. Here's our number of houses. Here's our total citizens. So it's 10 people across 5 families. Here's our approval rating. We want to get that up if our town is going to grow. Public order. I haven't really figured out what it does. I think it has to do with how often bandits spawn. this is our regional wealth, which is basically money our people have to spend, which we can eventually tax and add to our own personal treasury up here. These are our starting supply bar up here. So starting right off, we'll want to get wood and lumber going, as well as food. We'll also want to build a granary so the food we have doesn't spoil. Food does spoil. It spoils at a slower rate if it's stored in a building or a granary, and the higher upgraded building it is, the less it spoils. To build things, you need to bring lumber to building sites, and you need an ox to do that. And so we're going to use our regional wealth. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to buy a second ox. And then by the time that second ox arrives, we should have a second hitching post built. So just looking, we don't want to chop down trees near the berries because basically it'll cause the berries to go away. Same with near wild animals. They won't go away, they'll just migrate to a different section of the map, but the berries we could lose for good if we're not careful. So I believe we're going to build our lumber yard down here to start with. Yeah, I like right in here, and they'll collect trees closest to them first, but you can also replant trees, and you can set the area where your lumber yard works. We'll probably have a starting logging camp, and then eventually build another one farther away from these berries. But we just want to get something going right now. Now we also want a woodcutter's lodge, which will collect us firewood. And we'll also want to eventually turn that lumber into planks. So we're gonna get a saw pit. So that's kind of our starting forestry industry. I don't think we'll worry about forester's hut quite yet, but I want to bring in a road around this way so everyone can travel faster by road, so it doesn't hurt to build a few extra. And then we want to get our food production going. So we're going to build a forager's hut to collect berries. Build that near the berries. And we'll just connect that up to the main road. And then, of course, like I said before, we want a granary, and we want a storehouse so our supplies don't spoil. So non-food supplies will only get ruined if they're left out in the rain, so we want our storehouse and our granaries built pretty quickly. What am I already out of? Okay, so I believe I used too much wood already, so we don't need the saw pit quite yet. There we go. So now we have some more wood. So yeah, let's build the granary and the storehouse. So we'll So as you can see, you need to balance the supplies you have versus what you're going to use. So we're going to make this logging camp highest priority. So so we can get lumber in right away, timber. And then we're going to make these high priority. And then after that, they'll build that because it's at medium priority. Now, just looking around, I think that's enough of our initial planning, so let's start this time. Fortunately, we can pause time anytime we want. So you can see they're already moving around. This guy's leading the ox to bring lumber to the logging camp so we can get more lumber. So they're coming over here to start building, but they will need 2 lumber to actually make any progress. So he's going to bring these one at a time, and that's why I want a second ox in as quick as I can. And we need hitching posts for each of our ox so they don't run away. As you can see, we're starting in March of year 1, and so the year number will increase as we go. We go through different seasons, different resources are available in different seasons, mainly food resources. So we want to get this done pretty quickly. So now you can see they brought lumber over, they're making progress on building this. And now we've got more things here, so it's warning us we've got exposed goods. So yes, we'll take care of that as soon as we get this lumberyard built. We also have this. It says we've only got food for 2 months, which we should start getting berries in pretty quickly. But let's also build a hunting camp. To start getting meat in as well. And let's build a road. And you can curve these roads and make them run however you want. I want more or less, well, let's bring it in like this. Just to... Now something I do want to check in the build menu, I want to check my fertility. Do I have a decent amount of fertility? So do I want to eventually look to farming? And it looks like not really. We have rye fertility, but that requires us to invest a couple upgrade points into farming. And so, yeah, really, we're gonna probably not do much farming. Yeah, we'll focus on trying to get food from other sources apart from farming. I really sped up time so we don't have to wait so long. We've got a new message. I have heard of your renown. I only seek to defend my rights and my honor against those who would wrong me. I hope you will not judge me by the rumors and slanders that some may spread about me. Signed and sealed by my own seal, Hildebolt von Barenroot. And so I can write back or end conversation. We'll just let that pass. So there's the Baron reaching out to us for the first time. So now that our logging camp is complete, we're going to assign a family to work here. And they'll start cutting forest, cutting trees down. We'll keep an eye out, make sure they don't get too close to these berries. And when they do, we'll either readjust its position or we'll assign them a specific work area. So hopefully we can get some more timber in and get some more things building. So now hopefully they'll be working on building the granary and storehouses. So now we've got a warning, not enough stable space, so we will have to build a hitching post before our second ox runs away. We do have our second oxen now, so they'll be able to move lumber around more readily. So, yep. Good. So we've got the storehouse. So we're going to temporarily assign one of our families here. So you can see they moved from unassigned to assigned. And the family assigned to the storehouse will start moving supplies into the storehouse. So we just want to do that temporarily until we get our goods put away. And then after that, any production buildings will automatically move everything to the storehouses as they produce it. So we've got family requests more market area for their stall. We'll deal with that in a bit. We need one more stone here, so they're also taking stone from this supply to bring over here. So we need one more stone over here. Let's see if we can find someone bringing it. Yep. So this is done construction, so we'll assign a family to the granary to store that food away. Now, another reason to keep families assigned here is that they can move goods. Families assigned to granaries and storehouses can move goods 10 at a time instead of 1 at a time. But that's not a real concern right at the beginning. We'll wait until we need to start moving stuff around faster before we get that. But right now I want to watch for when this forester's hut is built, and they're working on it. So they've got the wood they need. And I also want to keep an eye out. Good, we've got more timber in, so we want to start building. So let's get logistics. Let's get a hitching post in, and let's put it right near the town center. This may or may not be the town center depending on how this develops, but yeah, so let's get that built. All right. So it is raining, so I'm glad we're getting this food stored away, hopefully pretty quickly. We do have our supplies put away, so we can free up this family. Let's put this at a slightly higher priority. Good. So we've got our forager hut, so let's assign a family here. Now, one thing we can do here once we have some planks is add an herb garden so we can start getting herbs in, which will help people recover when they're sick. So it does require 25 of this regional wealth. We have 30, and we'll get more once we start attacking bandits, but we will need planks, which we make from timber. So let's build me. Well, let's wait till that hitching post finishes building. All right, so we now have enough stable space for our 2 oxen. Now, once we have planks, we can upgrade these to stables so they can each house 2. But let's put in, we want woodcutter to get firewood, and we want a saw pit to start making planks. I don't know how well my recording is picking it up, but you can also hear your villagers talking. So our forager hut is finished, and we've got a family assigned. So let's check in. Have we made any progress on our hunting camp? It is basically same priority as everything else, so we'll hopefully start getting meeting soon. So right now we've got food for 3 months, which is 15 bread, so 1 food per family per month is how it works. Once we build houses, that might increase. So you can see when this ox isn't in use, it's at the hitching post, and that way it doesn't run away. So we now have a saw pit. We have 2 families available. Our food's put away so we can free up another family. How are we doing on wood? We've got 7 timber available. I don't know if we'll start let's start making planks. And then let's build some houses. So once we start building houses, they'll require firewood, and they will also require food. And you can actually map out, they call these burbage plots, and you can kind of make these whatever shape you want. But I try to make sure we've got enough space to get a backyard workshop, and we can assign different things to these. So these, for example, could have chicken coops, which will produce eggs. They could have vegetable patches. They could have goat farms. They could have orchards, depending on how we spend our upgrade points. But one thing that's very important to me is I want to be able to have this symbol here, which means I'm putting, so I could build four individual plots, or I could build 3 plots in this space with additional housing. And that additional housing adds an extra family to each plot, but it doesn't increase the food or firewood requirements of the plot. So it means we basically get extra families for less resource cost. We will have to build those additional living spaces separate from building the first plots, which will require more lumber, but in the long run that will be helpful. So let's get that done. So you can see they're starting to bring wood over to here to build these out. Hunting camp. So the hunting camp actually doesn't take any goods to actually build it, so it's a pre-construction. But we are going to put it on a slightly higher priority so we can finally get that done. And once we've built housing spaces for 5 families, we will finally no longer have a negative on our approval rating each month. But we're also going to build a well. And wells, basically, you really only need one for your town, except if you want to spread a few around in case of fires later on during raids. Let's just find a place to put that in. You need to build a well on an underground reservoir. We're going to throw it right here. And we need market space. So I am going to build my market. Let's build a road here. And the market space can kind of be irregularly shaped. So we're going to build our market in this area. That seems pretty good. So as need requires, they will build stalls out here and supply the market, and then the market will supply our houses. So we want to get firewood, we want to get clothing. And we want to get food. Firewood. We should have someone start collecting firewood. I've got 20 firewood right now, so that'll supply 3 buildings for nearly 7 months, but not indefinitely. And hopefully get these houses built pretty quick. Let's add this. How are we doing on getting planks in? We've got 5 planks. We're probably still using all our timber, so they aren't getting a lot of timber over to the planks because the timber is all being used for construction. So basically they need to bring logs from the logging camp, put it into the saw pit, and then the saw pit makes planks. And I guess we are making a decent amount of planks. Yeah, so we'll stop plank production for a bit so we can build up our timber. And now that we have that, let's wait on that. So berries grow seasonally, so we won't have many berries in the winter. How are we doing on our food supply? Yeah, let's build it up. I kind of didn't want to pause this building to construct that, but we've got plenty to go. All right, so we've got our first living space, and we want to expand the living space. And that'll let them build in the to allow a second family on this plot. And same here. And we're out of wood, so we need a little more lumber to build out that plot. So we now have 5 living spaces as soon as they're finished constructing this second one, which means our homelessness situation is done, and we'll start getting positives from our marketplace from food and wood and clothes. Not wood, but clothes. Would just make sure they don't freeze. So yeah, let's assign a family here. I think that's where we'll end for tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.